and 2 months for the summer, to spend 2 months for the summer with Matt Allen there in Papua New Guinea, and kind of made you aware of that he needed to be doing that. It was going to be something he desired to do, to see the field himself, knowing that the Lord has put a call upon his life to do something very similar to that. And then also it was a requirement for his college degree. And so we as a church were able to take up an offering and really meet a large portion of the need for Garrett to be able to get over there. And he went over in the middle of June and spent 2 months there and just got back here last week or so ago. And so we are grateful that Garrett had that opportunity, and he will be leaving to go back to college here this week. And so we asked Garrett, before he pulls out of town again, to come and give us an update, share with us what he was able to see. He had a thrilling time, because this is a very exciting time for Matt and Becky as they see this new work start from the ground up there in Port Moresby. So I'm going to ask Garrett to come at this time, and he's going to share with you what he saw and what the Lord did in his heart, and he'll have a few pictures as well to show you his trip while he was there.
Well, good evening. Thank you all again for your support that you showed me. Even while I was gone, I got notes and emails and whatnot from a lot of you, and it was really special to see a church behind me, not just financially before the trip, but also during the trip, sending me notes. Hey, I'm praying for you. Hope things are going well. That was really neat and special. So thank you for that. So what did I do? I went for 2 months and spent some time with some missionaries in a foreign land. And what did I do? So for the first part of the trip, I spent a lot of the time working with Matt and Becky on their house, getting that finished up so that they can focus on the ministry and really why they're there. So we spent a lot of time, their house is cement blocks, so we had to frame out the walls and put drywall up and stuff like that, flooring. So there was a lot of that we did for the first part of the trip, just getting the house ready. And then after that, we were able to move into working with the school, and we'll get into that in a few minutes. But some of the other things that we were able to do was a lot of outreach and ministering with the church and through the church and on behalf of the church and stuff like that. One of the big things, and this is one of the first pictures, is we had a groundbreaking ceremony towards the beginning of the trip, where the main guys from the church and Brother Matt all went out there and tried to dig a hole into really hard ground. And it didn't really work, but they tried. And then the next picture is a picture of, that was the church at that time, that was everyone that was there. And that was 40 or 50 some people, and now the church this past Sunday was at 71. So it's just growing by leaps and bounds all the time. It's very exciting to see. So we had that, and now the school project is well underway. We have a team of 8 guys that are working full-time every day, Monday to Friday, working on that, getting that building up. And as you may have saw on Facebook over the past week and a half or so, there was a team that went and helped them really get a lot done. They went from a few floor joists on the floor to all the floor joists clear up to the roof joists are on now. So the work team can now start putting steel cladding around the outside and the roof on in the next few days. So they helped immensely with that project that they are hoping to have wrapped up by January for schools to start. And then if we go to the next picture, that is a picture of the church. Sorry, it's a little blurry, but if you can see, that gives you kind of a general idea of where they're meeting right now. That's right in Matt and Becky's house and their living room and dining room there. So they squeeze 71 people into that area. So they are getting ready to move. Down by the school building, they have some containers, shipping containers there, and there are 2 set aside. I don't know, some of you may have saw the footage from the drone that they were flying around a couple of days ago. 2 of those are spread farther apart than the rest. They're going to build a roof structure over that for them to meet in until the school building is finished. Once the school building is finished, there's a large classroom they'll be able to move into and be in after the first of the year. So for now, they are meeting in this, and each Sunday they pull the kids out to go outside and have junior church. And one of the cool things was I was able to help a lot with that. At first it was kind of observing, helping with songs and games and stuff. But then as the internship progressed and other interns left and stuff, I was able to move into a lot of the teaching and really help them keep that ministry going. So in the next couple of weeks, Tyler Nickel will be arriving, I believe, and helping a lot with that. Some of you may have met him. But they are just growing, and it's very exciting to see. So if we see the next picture, that is one of our outreaches that we did one Sunday. Let me back up here. They were having the Port Moresby Games. They're a step below the Olympics. It's the South Pacific Games is what it's called. And all of these really good athletics from the South Pacific region would come to Port Moresby and compete against each other for different medals and prizes and things. And the church decided that one Sunday, the opening Sunday really, we were going to go out and pass out John and Romans throughout the city where all of those people were going to be, because there's going to be large crowds and just people everywhere. So we did. We loaded up the truck with just stacks of boxes and went out and just passed out probably a couple thousand of those John and Romans. And this is a couple of people that got them. It was very interesting there because here you hand someone a tract or a flyer about church, and they might look at it, but then they'll just kind of put it in their pocket or whatever. They don't really think about it. Over there, a lot of times people are coming up and asking you for whatever you've got. They don't know what you have. They see you're giving it to everyone. They're like, oh, it's free. I want one. I don't know what's going on, but I want one. And so they would come up, and if they didn't ask one, you still gave it to them. But then they would turn and they would find a place to sit down, and they'd sit there and they'd read it and just see what they just got. I got this for free. What is it? I don't even know. So as we're passing them out, we're telling them it's John and Romans. It's free. It's the book of John and the book of Romans. And they'd be like, oh, okay. And then they'd go read it and really understand, oh, this is the Bible. And they'd start digging into God's word right then, which was really exciting. And then I think I have another picture related to this. Yes. So one weekend we were able to take a road trip out to a village about 4 hours away from Matt and Becky's house. And along the way, we were able to stop at every little market because there's just little roadside stands everywhere. Everybody's got something to sell, whether it's food or just little knickknacks or whatever. So we would stop and we would pass out John and Romans, as we go. And then once we got out there, this is where we were able to hold a couple of church services. And after we passed out the John and Romans, we explained what John and what Romans were. We had two preachers, and one would preach from John and give kind of an overview of what was going on in that book. The other one would get up and he'd give an overview of what's going on in Romans. So now they've got the Bible, but they've also had an overview of what's going on. And so it was really exciting because I'm sure there was a lot of people in those crowds that have never heard it and never had a Bible before as well. So that was really neat to be a part of and just see stuff going out and people wanting it and otherwise not having an access to it. So if we have the next picture. This one is a crane company. It's a little hard to see. Sorry about that. But we meet here every week on Wednesday morning. It is a local crane company 10 minutes down the road from the Allen's house. And they have allowed us to come in and hold a Bible study from 7:30 to 8 every week with their employees. So we come in and they've done Thessalonians. We did a couple of videos explaining, the universe and all that. And it was really exciting because it went from the universe to different cells and molecules in your body and was explaining the intricacies that God has put into us. It was really neat because after that, like a week later, one of our work crew guys, we're down there working on the school building with them, and one of them comes up and asks me, what's a molecule? I don't know how to explain this. I don't know, it's something really small and it comprises everything, I don't know. So it was just really neat to try and think through it and explain to him because he was still thinking on what he had heard, and the gospel was presented very clearly in that video, and then following the video, we presented it again. So it's working, it's going out, and it's really exciting to see people receiving the gospel, and in many cases, receiving it for the first time. So that is another avenue that they have currently that they're working through. And then I think I have one more picture. Yes. I will be putting out a highlight video in the next few days, Lord willing, and if you check that website, mission912.com, that's where I'll be posting it. So if you would like to see more detailed pictures and stuff like that of what I did, that'll be available on there in the next few days. Thank you.
Wow, what a joy to see that, just to see even our own there working and love seeing Matt and Becky's work, and then be able to see one of our own young people now growing up and a young man going and testing out the mission field. I'm just excited. As a youth pastor, this is what I live for. I want to see young people get excited about missions. And so, church, that's one of ours. I'm so thrilled. At this time, I'll ask our men to come forward to receive the evening offering. I do want to mention just